Welcome to Village Church Sermon Q&A. Pastor Michael here with you, and I am with Pastor Craig and Pastor Alex. The question for today is based off of a sermon that these two guys gave on neighbor laws in the Old Testament, and it was given on May 16th, 2021. Is that correct, guys? Did
that
we get
is correct.
that? Awesome. Feeling good about that. So, Pastor Alex, we have a funny question for you.
Okay.
And the question is it a sin to have an unkept yard? I have a question for you. Is it a sin to have do you call it dandelions?
I don't know what you call it. Yeah.
I'll pronounce it right. Dandelions.
Sure.
Dandelions. Anyways, dandelions overtake your yard. Tell us your story. Can you give a testimony?
Yeah, I could share something. So we were preparing for this sermon. And Pastor Michael goes, you know those people in my neighborhood.
Those people
who have dandelions in their yard. And, they're just jeopardizing the entire neighborhood. And I'm sitting here listening and going.
Yeah, and I noticed you didn't say anything for a while. He just dug that grave.
Several minutes passed.
He was pretty ticked off.
Yeah.
Can I confess?
So I do have a confession. My yard, was previously overrun with dandelions.
Overrun,
let's say 25% of my yard, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's visible. You drive down my street, every lawn on my street is pristine.
Wow.
It's a sin.
And you see and you see my yard. And so my neighbors, I said, my neighbors know three things about me. Number one, I'm a pastor. Number two, I have a very cute daughter. And number three, I have dandelions in my yard. And if you know how dandelions work, you know that dandelions are not just about how your yard looks and what people think about you. They are a jeopardy to the entire neighborhood.
Planet.
Right?
Oh, sorry.
It's like shaking people's hands with warts all over your hands, except it's your neighbors.
That's right. So obviously, obviously,
such a bad illustration.
now
But you'll remember it.
That's exactly right. So I was convicted. I needed to do something about this. Now, I had been doing something about this for the last year and a half. And
mowing your lawn and spreading it.
Going out with your cute daughter and blowing it. You have been doing something about it. Yes, you are a good father.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Neighbor?
Good
I don't know.
Focus on.
So I put chemicals down. I tried to take care of it, but they were so overrun that even that wasn't doing it. So I actually took my daughter out in my yard, and we got one of those pluckers and started picking them up. And it's yet to be seen. So I just did it last week because I preached
25% of your lawn is gone.
Right, and I'm reseeding and all of this stuff. So my neighbor from across the street comes out to me and he sees me doing this. And he's like, "Oh, you're like working on your yard." He's like, "That's good." I'm like, "Yeah, I think it is good. Yeah, because I'm tired of these dandelions." And he's like, "Yeah, when
too.
you get those, they just go everywhere." Right? So here's the principle. Is it a sin for anybody to have dandelions in their yard? I'm not going to go that far, but here's what I do know. Yeah. I want my neighbors. I don't want to create an unnecessary barrier for my neighbors. And quite obviously, my neighbors like having good-looking lawns, right? And that's a value in my neighborhood. And partly because I'm a pastor, people know I'm a pastor, people know I'm a Christian, right? And my goal is to have to be able to not create unnecessary barriers with them, right? So I've got to do something about these dandelions.
Good for you.
We're really proud of you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
appreciate it.
I would agree it's not sin. It is passively inconsiderate.
Right.
But let's talk about your life, for example. Getting time to get into the yard can be very, very challenging with little kids, a pregnant wife. Right. So as I was saying that, it was funny that you responded because I was like, oh man. Then I was looking at a house right around the corner of our cul-de-sac, and it's just overrun. But what your story did is it gave me a lot of compassion because I was like, you know what, like, I don't know what's going on
They
in
could
their home.
have reasons why they're not able to take care
Absolutely.
of it.
So it actually, your conversation made me a lot less judgmental.
Oh, that's good.
On that one.
I'm glad
So
I could help sanctify you.
I appreciate that. I really feel like
good.
I'm a better human for that.
That's good.
Right. He only has dandelions. You let mice free.
It's dandelions. Is there a Y? Can somebody confirm? Is there a Y in dandelions?
We should look that
If
up
there's
for
a
the next
Y,
question.
I'm going to call them dandelions.
So let me just say one thing about the dandelion situation.
Okay.
Now, I'm from Canada.
Is there a Y?
And
There's no Y. It's dandelions. Okay,
Dandelions.
just want to make sure we're good. All right. You're from Canada?
You could go on about how you're from Canada.
Yeah. It's not helping your case.
In
but go on.
Canada, you're not allowed to use chemicals on your lawn. So if you see a lawn that is pristine with no dandelions, then you know that person is breaking the law because those chemicals are flowing off supposedly into the drainage system. So if you see a lawn that is really looking good, you might have the alternate reaction. In Canada, you might say, you know what, you're breaking the law. And we all can see that, and you might be the person on the block.
Bad neighbor, right?
The bad neighbor.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
Isn't that something?
So I live. I have
I'm sorry.
No, please.
I should say there are other ways. There are other ways that they handle the dandelion situation. Yeah, they're not necessarily chemicals that are bad for the environment. That's stuff that United States might use, but So they do try and handle it, but every yard has dandelion.
In Canada, is there like the value for the lawn like there is here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They love gardening. It's very English, so they love the gardening look. So like a really populated brush and.
Yeah, it's like a cross-cultural experience for me. I just don't know what's over there.
Yeah, you should take a trip up there.
Yeah, I'm good. So I on my cul-de-sac, I have the greatest neighbors on the planet. Especially from where I moved from, I had the worst neighbors on the planet. So now we have the best neighbors on the planet. So the house to the left of us, if you're facing the street, they're retired. Now the house to the right of me, they're retired. The next house is retired, and the next woman is retired. So all summer long, they're outside
Caring for their
yeah, and so I didn't quite. So I'm pretty OCD about my lawn. So it's. But when we moved in, we had to renovate the whole house. So we had like 2 months of just like literally every single day was piles of trash for the trash guy to come up. So one day and this is kind of my introduction to realizing they're really deep care for our lawns. I left a garbage can out 2 days past the date of when you're supposed to
bring it back.
They called the police on me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
To be clear, the only one of them that might watch this is Tom, and it wasn't Tom. So Tom's the best neighbor in the history of the universe. That's a true statement. So they called the police, and then the police show up, and it was actually one of these moments that was just so hilarious to me. And so the police show up, and this guy gets out of his car, and the guy who called the police is watching the whole thing, and he's thinking, got him, So I walk up to the cop. The cop walks up to me, and we give each other like a 30-second bear hug. Because it was a guy I hadn't seen in years, and he's a good friend. And then I'm like, dude, come on, check out our new house, check out what we're doing. It was just a great. And anyway, so then he left, and his name's John. And so I went over to my neighbor, and I just said, you don't need to call the cops. I'm really sorry. Like anything I can do to make this a better experience. We're just overwhelmed. And that guy and I have had a great relationship ever since. And I wasn't mean. I wasn't like, bro, why'd you call the cops on me? I mean, I get it. Like I'm the new guy. They had a rhythm. I blew their rhythm up, and I'm just trying to be sensitive to that. And so being a good neighbor, it's bigger than lawns. It's the trash you put out. Like right now, I'm cognizant that I have a big metal bench sitting on our cul-de-sac, and I'm hoping that the metal guys come and pick it up.
Yeah, and it should be said, like in the scriptures that we were using yesterday, it's how to be a good neighbor. There's just so many verses on this is what a good neighbor would do. A good neighbor would take care of their property. That's a part of it.
And how does your property interact with your neighbor's property?
Totally.
Right?
Like mice. If you release mice in the yard, then it goes over.
Don't leave an open pit, in your yard, or don't leave ice on the sidewalk where you might translate that way. Or
that's a good one. That's actually
we have to be careful of the things that God has given to us to steward, because it is a reflection of Christ in us as well.
And considerate.
Considerate.
I think that was the word in
That
our
was the word
preaching
we landed
prep.
on.
Yeah, it was like to be considerate. Well, guys, thank you. That was actually, Alex, I'm really proud of you. And in your conviction, I have been convicted.
That's good.
And I
I'm
feel like
glad.
we are better
Spread
humans
it around. Yeah,
for that. Still waiting on Craig. We'll get there. But
Pretty good, actually.
I want to thank you for joining us. We have more questions on Vilshire's sermon Q&A to come. Thanks.